Ted Bundy,
Jeffrey Dahmer,
Ed Gein,
Eileen Wuornos.
Edmund Kemper.
Do all these names sound familiar to you? We bet they do.
Well, you're never going to hear them on this podcast.
Nope. I'm Brittany.
And I'm Justine.
And we're the hosts of It's About Damn Crime, a true crime podcast where we focus on cases featuring people of color. And if you're looking for serious storytelling, this is not the place.
But we do promise, no matter how hardcore a true crime fan you think you are, we're going to tell you at least one story you've never heard of. You can listen to us at itsaboutdamncrime.com or wherever you get your podcast at.
And remember, there's a lot of desert out there.
Show is.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for letting us in.
I was burying bodies out in the desert.
Neighbors claimed they practice witchcraft.
Quiet. Everything will be fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Haunted Heart. Episode 13.
Episode 13. Good number.
Yes, definitely a good number.
Good number.
So, what's up? How's your week been?
They can't talk to us, Kenny. It's a podcast.
I'm talking to you, bitch.
Oh, fuck. Well, you didn't make eye contact. My week is fine. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, so that's cool.
Same.
Yeah.
Lots of podcasts.
Yeah. Since we're kind of like new, I guess, newish.
We're still new. Yeah.
We're kind of reclusive. So we're like just meeting all the cool people who are producing awesome content. And so we're trying to get caught up and stuff and listen to a bunch of different shows. And like the quality is really cool. Like there's a lot of people who do like really well researched and like well produced and like
Oh yeah, I'm totally jealous.
well edited shows. And then
There's us.
we just bullshit around.
Hey,
every
it's
week.
all good though. It's all love.
Yeah, for real. So
And you just heard from one of those really cool podcasts.
You did.
Actually.
You just heard from It's About Damn Crime.
Love them.
They're amazing.
Fucking
so
love them.
Kenny actually told me about them a couple months ago, and I started listening. I want to say like 2 or 3 months ago, and I binged all of it because I love them.
Well, I introduced them to you because I really enjoyed their Stranger Danger episodes, which I think are so creepy but so fascinating. I love hearing like actual stories from other people. Mm-hmm. And so that's what originally got me hooked. And so I was like, girl, you need to check these out. You need to check these girls out. You'll really like them.
I love them. I feel like I want to be like their third best friend.
Okay.
Like, I feel like it's kind of like, you remember that scene in The Craft? Where they're like, we don't need a fourth. I feel like it might be that. I feel like it might be that situation. But I just think they're so damn funny. I love them both.
Oh, yeah, totally.
They're
really awesome.
Is your cat screaming?
I think
he's just screeching outside the door. Fuck. No. Anyway, It's About Damn Crime. They're super cool. Brittany, Justine, Scott. They're super chill, and they always have a good time. So they're from Big Vegas, and they drop episodes on Wednesdays, which is the same day that we drop episodes. So you can listen to us, you can listen to them. It'll be a great time. It'll be a party.
Oh, yes. Definitely. So, I think one of the other things that we're starting this week...
we got all kinds of new shit coming for you.
Yeah. And first, I think... Do we want to mention... like, this... We've seen a lot of support.
Yes.
This
Yeah.
week.
It was weird. I don't know who you guys are that are listening, but... Fucking thanks, man. Like... I don't know. We just got a lot of support this week, which is cool.
I'm
awesome.
all about it. Like, keep it coming.
Yeah, for real. But I don't know why you fucking listen to us, but that's cool. I kept texting Kenny all week, and I was like, what's going on? is our shit broke? Like, because I don't really feel like
Do we need to
people
contact
are
Libsyn?
listening.
Like,
I was like, do we need to, what's going on?
Debbie,
Is it broken?
Dear Mr. Libsyn.
I'm like trying to identify people in our lives that would fuck with us by like messing
She's
our
getting,
numbers
no.
up.
She's
I
getting
literally
real
did.
paranoid. She's like, do you think it's this person? Like, are they who's trying to sabotage us? And I'm like, they're trying to sabotage us. But
I did not use the word sabotage, but I was like, do you think that somebody is like falsely inflating our numbers so that they can then let us down and us be really disappointed? I understand that it is victim logic and crazy. That is the first step.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I haven't figured out the second one. But anyway, if you are real people out there, thanks for listening. And then, what the fuck is that noise?
I don't know.
No, I hope you guys can't hear it. Anyway, whatever. If you can, you know.
It was a creepy noise.
Fuck. It sounds like a wheezing car. Anyway, so in, I guess, connection with that, we have kind of connected with a bunch of really cool people we're way more active on Twitter now.
Oh,
we
yes,
actually
definitely.
started our fucking Facebook group, so go join it. Just search the Haunted Heart Podcast on Facebook and join.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually post content and shit on there. Fucking crazy.
Fucking mind blown.
Right, finally. And Instagram, you guys know where to find us on Instagram, The Haunted Heart Podcast? The Haunted Heart? I don't fucking know.
The Haunted
Just search
Heart.
this bitch.
It's The Haunted Heart.
It's just The Haunted Heart, right? On Twitter and whatever. But we have met a lot of really cool people that have really cool projects and stuff that they're doing. And we kind of thought that we've met some folks that we think the projects that they're working on are something that our listeners would potentially be interested in. Mm-hmm. And it's all people that we've known for quite a while. And people whose products we're really familiar with or whose projects we're really familiar with. And we thought that it might be cool to kind of use the show as a little bit of a platform to tell you about those people.
Yeah, because these are, people that we really vibe with, and like, so we
and
just
if you for some fucking reason listen to us, like apparently you wanna, like, you might like them too.
Right.
And we're not selling anything. We're not getting paid. I feel like I should tell you that I'm not getting paid. Kenny's not getting paid either.
But I mean, if you're willing.
Put the coin on the dresser. No, I just feel like we're not selling anything. We're not hawking anything. We're not getting paid. These are cool people who are making cool things that we think you would be interested in. Mm-hmm. So, today I wanted to talk about my friend Tanisha. And she runs a website and a shop called The Opaque. And she has all kinds of crystals and minerals and jewelry and really awesome stuff. And I actually have ordered quite a few pieces from her. I have a piece of aventurine from her. I have a piece of indigo gabbro that's gorgeous. And I have a piece of lapis lazuli that's beautiful from her. All of her stuff is fantastic. She sells like raw crystals and polished crystals and or cut crystals, I think is what they're called. And she also does jewelry. And like literally everything this woman produces is...
It is absolutely stunning. Like, it is, that's no other word for it, but stunning.
Yeah, and she's so cool. She founded her shop in like 2014, and it was like, I think it was like mid-spring is what her website said, and she kind of went on, like, The Opaque with her has been a journey into spiritualism and kind of exploring that, and like how crystals help us focus intentions. And I don't know how much on the podcast I've talked about it, but I'm really into that sort of thing. I think that anything that has to do with any sort of magic, I think that magic and intention are synonymous. Mm-hmm. And I'm not that person who's like super anal about crystals, but I do think that it like helps you. Anything that is a token that can help you focus your intention is going to be helpful to you. So,
And I've seen, and the pieces that you have are so beautiful.
yeah. I mean, I can't talk enough about her, but her shop is underscore the opaque. It's the OPAQUE underscore. It's got underscores on either side. And you can just Google it. She's really cool. Her husband also makes jewelry, and he's cool as shit. And we really like them. So check her out for sure. She's the bomb.
Mm-hmm. And someone else that I actually really like that we follow on Instagram is Hello Gorgeous.
Yes. And I like that it's gore, like gore,
Yes.
blood and guts gore. Gorgeous.
Yeah,
That's
no,
cute.
she has a lot of really cool, like, horror-themed accessories, merchandise, like, body products, too. Mm-hmm. And, like, I just love this, like, the name of this is really cool. But it's like a body scrub. It's the scrub of your nightmares. So it has this... it's all well, I don't know if all of the products are 100%,
I think they are.
but I do believe they are. But
I think all of her stuff is.
are vegan, cruelty-free, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. Not about that harming the animals, testing on animals, none of that bullshit. But it's scented in like this really, really luscious like black cherry scent, and I absolutely love it.
That's awesome. That's the one that's like Freddy, right?
Yeah. Scrub of your nightmares, Freddy Krueger, that sort of thing.
She has one. I think she posted it the other day. It was like a booby scrub. I want that one.
Like, I love her t-shirts too. So like, there's one that she has that's like Satan and Chill,
Oh, it's cute.
which I love because it's like I love that. It's one of my favorite songs off Marilyn Manson's last album, Satan. So love that. Really cute, like little bows and stuff like that.
They're all like Halloween themed.
Uh-huh.
That's adorable.
So definitely, please definitely go check her out. Instagram handle is just Hello Gorgeous. Yeah.
And it's GOREGEO.
Yeah, GOREGEOUS.
I love a good pun. That's so cute. I see stuff like that and I'm like, damn, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
She's cool. And that's it. We just wanted to highlight some cool people doing cool shit for you. So hopefully we'll be able to do that, every week. Introduce you to
I'm just so
new folk.
I'm so like, I get so jealous sometimes because I'm like, I wish I could make like body scrubs and shit like that.
I wish I could fucking do anything. Like useful at all.
For real.
What the fuck do I do?
You get people out here like making beautiful art, making like amazing things for your body, and like,
Bitch, I can make you dinner.
that is true.
I can. And you can buy a character molded butter from Food Line
Listen.
for dinner.
I'm gonna tell you what.
Kenny loves his fucking molded butters.
Here's what it's really about. You can make a dinner. I can make a theme. Okay?
That's true. That's fair.
That's my area. Anybody if you are listening and you're interested in like hiring me for like getting you a bomb ass themed like party, whatever it is you need set up, hit me up, bitch.
I feel like they should know that you're going to yell at them a lot.
Listen,
A whole lot.
That is art. It is art.
I just see you mid like party planning and you just have like stains and shit all over your shirt and your hair is like standing on end. I've planned too many parties with you.
True.
I think to know.
True. I'm gonna have to put that in the agreement beforehand. It's like
I'm
a
gonna
special
yell at
clause. Like,
I'm going to put that clause in every contract I ever sign. I'm going to yell at you and it's going to be okay.
I'm gonna yell at you. There ain't a damn thing you can do
It's
about
going to be
it.
fine.
So, what are we bringing the
Is
children
it time
today?
to do our podcast?
It is time.
I'm so excited. So today we're talking about a pretty heavy topic.
Yeah, like I definitely want to.
I feel like we got to take it
we got to be
down to a
serious
serious
for a
place.
moment. Yeah, totally. We got to be serious for a moment. I just think that what we're gonna discuss today, like Katie said, is pretty serious.
Yeah.
And I just want everyone to know that if there are things that you are struggling with, and always try to seek help. Like, we are open. Like, you can slide in our DMs if you want to. I know I said I was going to be serious. But
God damn it. God damn it.
But no, I'm just saying, like, if you know, if you want somebody to talk to, we're here, first of all.
Right. And there's also, you know, helplines and things like that. People are probably really confused because they don't know what the topic is yet. So today we are talking about suicide games. Particularly teen suicide games. And the word games is in quotes. Because it's not a game. It's really fucked up. And I got real down when I was doing my research for this week. Because it was like, oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Like, some of these stories are, like, real tough.
Oh, yeah.
So.
No, some of them are really awful.
Yeah. So it's, and we absolutely are not seeking to, we want to talk about this topic because we think it's important to talk about, because we want to raise awareness about it, and because we want, you know, to kind of bring it to the forefront. Not because we're trying to make fun of anybody.
Right.
We good?
Yeah.
Okay. So, so you were going to talk about how kind of that's perceived or portrayed in pop culture.
Well, okay, so I think what sort of inspired this episode, I think, because I recently watched the movie Nerve.
The movie was really good.
And yeah, it was really, really good.
That was a movie that I thought was going to be shit, but I was going to watch it anyway, for sure.
Right. I went in with super low expectations. Because, like...
But it turned out to be real good.
Yeah, because I'm like, all right, I'm like not the biggest Emma Roberts fan.
She was great in Scream 4.
Yeah, I mean, she's good, but I'm not like, ooh, Emma Roberts, like, I gotta see it. Like, no shade, Emma Roberts, if you're listening.
Somewhere Emma Roberts is like, fuck you.
No, I still love you. No, like, I still show love.
And then
like,
our LA downloads just fucking plummets. She was our biggest fan.
Oh,
you know,
God,
insulted her.
she was our biggest fan.
She's so beautiful, though.
No, very beautiful. Loved her. Like, thought she was so funny. Her character in Coven when she was on An American Horror Story. But anyway... enough about that. But I just watched it, went in with really low expectations, and then was very pleasantly surprised.
Hell yeah. It was really good.
Yeah, it was done in, it was like a 2016, it's like techno thriller / adventure. And like I said, it stars Emma Roberts, it has Dave Franco in it, which, I really like him, actually.
Okay, I wasn't sure what that eye roll was. I wasn't sure if that was like a he's hot eye roll, or if that was like a fuck that dude.
No. I appreciate Dave Franco.
I like him. He's a little wheezy. I feel like everything he says is kind of like this. You know what I mean?
That's kind of why I like him, though.
And then he has like those thick eyebrows.
I like that, too.
I mean, I am a fan of that bone structure.
Mm-hmm.
I just personally prefer the iteration of it in James Franco.
Yeah, so it was essentially about... It really references social media.
Yes.
Which is definitely important in this day and age. Sound like an old man. Like
in this day.
In this day and age. But it references social media in this sort of, like... realm of, like... gaming...
Yeah.
But, like, real-life gaming, so it's, like, in the moment.
Like, social media is the gaming platform.
Right.
And life is the game.
Right. And so you have some random person that's, like, people will send you challenges to do, and, you know, you have to do them. If you complete them in a certain time frame, then you earn, points, and actually, in this movie, you earn money.
Yeah.
So that, like, even gives you a bigger incentive to play, right?
But you can't drop out, right?
No, you can't drop out. You can't snitch. That's the biggest thing. Which should tell you, like, something's up with this, right?
Yeah.
especially the fact that people are someone's giving you money to do things
Generally, no.
Yeah, generally not a good idea, guys.
Generally, mm-mm.
So, and obviously it starts off, and I guess, spoiler alert.
Are you gonna tell the end?
No.
Okay.
But, if you don't want to know any more information about it, you should probably,
I feel like they fucking quit
bit.
listening around Dave Franco's eyebrows, though.
Yeah, maybe they did. Whatever. But, the challenges get progressively worse.
Yeah.
And eventually become life-threatening.
Yeah.
And, once it gets to a certain point, if you try to drop out, then that person, the game has all of your information. So if you, try to drop out, or if you snitch, then they control you. Mm. So they have all of your information, and the only way that you can, and you get put in, a jail, mm-hmm. or a cyber jail, so they have all of your stuff, and so in order to get out of that, you have to win the game. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of that, the movie doesn't really specifically have suicide in it.
I definitely think it was...
But it references it very heavily.
Yeah. And a lot of those elements that you mention, social media in particular, mm-hmm. And then the emphasis on... social media being one element, and then the progressive nature of tasks.
Yeah.
How they go from stuff that's, not so bad to stuff that's, really bad. Or really dangerous, I guess I should say. And also bad.
Yeah.
And then also that element of, you can't tell anybody. It's secretive. It's anonymous.
It's secret, but everybody knows, because everybody's playing it.
Right.
And
which is very similar to, some real life stuff, that I researched that was, a lot of people have heard of it. It's called the Blue Whale Challenge.
Oh, yeah. That's some fucked up shit.
So, this was a hard topic to research because this topic is part suicide game and manipulation and part urban legend creepypasta. So, it started in Russia, but potentially spread to South Africa and the UK. There was some fear of it in the US. There was a panic in 2000, late 2016, early to mid 2017 over the Blue Whale Challenge, and everybody was freaking out about it, and there were all these articles about it. Supposedly, the way the game works, teens were tasked to, and it spread through social media. It was an anonymous group thing, and some group admin would task teens to complete 50 tasks over 50 days. So it was one task a day. And they included things like watching horror movies and engaging in sleep deprivation. And then they graduated to self-harm and self-mutilation and eventually suicide. There were articles online that claimed over 130 deaths that were associated with it between November 2015 to April 2016. It's difficult to corroborate.
Yeah.
There are definitely some deaths. It's difficult to corroborate that specific number.
Right.
So apparently proof, they would do the task, and proof of completion of the task is done by sending pictures to the curator or the whale, who's the person who's assigning the tasks. And there was one teenager, Yulia Konstantinova, who posted a picture of a blue whale with no comment. Or I think the comment was this is the end. And it was just a picture of a blue whale on her Facebook on February 11th. And she jumped to her death from a 14-story building on February 19th, along with her friend Veronika Volkova, who was 16 years old. And that one is corroborated, and it's really bad. And they were super beautiful.
Well, the one thing that I know that this game, and even, in reference to the movie, is that the creators of this really seem to prey on insecurities. Mm-hmm. And they're targeted for those people.
Right.
Who, you know, might not be, like, I don't know. It's just a really, like, you really fucked up.
Yeah. Well, they actually arrested a guy. I actually didn't know this before I started looking into this deeper. Because I remember hearing about the whole Blue Whale thing, and it was just, like, so awful that, like, I know we're into the macabre and stuff like that, and, I mean, usually I consume a lot of true crime, probably way more than is, like, recommended, but way more true crime than is FDA recommended in this brain right here. But that was, like, a thing that I was like, whoa, okay, yep, that sounds really fucked up and horrible and awful, and I can't with that. But when I started researching it for this topic, I found out that in July of 2017, they actually arrested a man named Philippe Boudaikin. And I believe he was from St. Petersburg, or they arrested him in Petersburg, or maybe he had a trial in Petersburg. But he was 22 years old. He was arrested and charged with organizing 8 of the so-called suicide groups between 2013 and 2016. And he was sentenced by a Siberian judge to 3 years in prison.
Oh, shit.
Let me give that to you one more time. He was sentenced by a Siberian judge to 3 fucking years in prison for organizing suicide groups. And he was personally linked to 16 suicides in different regions all across Russia.
Fuck.
Yeah. He confessed to encouraging all 16 girls to end their lives. They were all females. He confessed to encouraging all 16 girls to end their lives, saying that these girls were biological waste.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It was really fucked up. I actually have an excerpt from his interview.
Oh my god.
It's translated, obviously, from the original Russian. But the interviewer asked, "Did you really push the teenagers to death?" And he says, "Yes, I really did. Do not worry, you will understand everything. Everyone will understand. They were dying happy. I gave them what they did not have in real life: warmth, understanding, and communication." Which is just some fucking bullshit. Like, you piece of shit.
Understanding, and communication.
He looks like such
but
a fucking...
But you're also
like,
biological waste.
He's just
fuck?
garbage. Like, he if you look at this guy, like, he looks like the kid who got chose last in dodgeball. Dolly-ball.
Wait,
is that a thing?
Dolly-ball?
Dolly-ball. I just picture Dolly Parton playing kickball. This fucking dude, for real, looks so lame. Like, he looks like he didn't get to go to prom and he was mad about it. Like, he looks like he didn't get a prom date, and so he went to prom and he was fucking mad. You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of the fucking incel people. Or, yeah, involuntary celibate people. That's who he fucking reminds me of. That type of internet scum. So he went on to say, the interviewer asked him how many people there were that he was manipulating, and that is it really like a number? The media outlets were writing that there were 130 people involved. And he said, "Of course not. Investigation of the news is just squalor. There were 17. There were those with whom I simply communicated, whom I knew, and who later committed suicide, but without my direct influence."
That's some bullshit. He is bullshit.
So the interviewer went on to ask him, when it all started, how was it organized, and how did he get to the point of pushing people to suicide? And this is when he kind of opens up, and we can see a little bit more of his fucking psychopathy, because he's a piece of shit. He said, "At first there are people, but there is a biomass."
The fuck does that mean?
This fucking dude sounds like some piece of shit I would have dated in high school. You know, some fucking Nietzsche reading, Ubermensch asshole.
No, he obviously has issues with women. Like,
he said there are those who do not represent any value to society.
Like himself?
And are or will only bring harm to society. I cleaned our society from such people. It began in 2013. I created F57, which was one of the names of one of the death groups. Just created, see what will happen. It was stuffed with shock content and it began to attract people. In 2014, it was banned. For a long time, I laughed when I saw everyone trying to understand what F57 means. It's simple. F, Philip, my name, or Philippe, who gives a fuck. 57, the last digits of my then number. I thought about the idea for 5 years. You can say I was preparing. I thought through the concept of the project, specific levels and stages. It was necessary to separate the normal from the biomass.
What a fucking tool. Like, if anybody is biological waste, it's him.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir.
No, I'm not fucking
You
sorry.
You are biological
sorry.
waste.
So I feel like biomass is like a planet. Like, that, I don't really think that means like a mass of people.
Biomass.
I hate when people use words that I feel like are targeted or chosen to make themselves seem smart, but really they just are super dumb.
It's a biomass.
And like wrong.
I feel like that's you would insert the meme where it's like, do you know the SpongeBob? Is it the SpongeBob meme where it's like, insert your biomass, and it's like it's got the letters that are like one's lowercase, one's capital, lowercase.
Oh
capital.
yeah, I know that meme. It's the it's
SpongeBob, right?
Yeah. It's like the that guy. That's what I picture when this fucking. But basically, so what happened? This guy, he was convicted of encouraging 16 young females to commit suicide through something that is very similar to this whole blue whale phenomenon. And then the news media, like, just took that and fucking ran with it. And I mean, like, internationally. The most recent article on the Blue Whale Challenge was posted on May 2nd of this year.
Interesting.
So it's like still, and that article was worded as like warning parents and stuff that like this group exists and stuff. And it's one of those things where now it's kind of taken on like a mythic proportion and it's almost sort of become an urban legend type thing.
Right.
And it's so like, it's so hard to track because, I mean, I'm sure that there are these groups for sure. But I'm almost wondering if the blue whale thing now has become kind of like a red herring, you know? And, the media has just sensationalized that particular thing to the point that, I almost wonder if it's a detriment.
Yeah, I mean...
Because it gives this fucking asshole more, like, notoriety, you know?
Right.
Meanwhile, his
get
ass is getting out of prison in like 3 years, but he's in Siberian prison, so we might not be seeing him anymore.
I was going to say, it's a Siberian prison. That's like, ugh. Who knows? But yeah, I think that...
He done made me so mad, I gotta drink water.
No, I think that... I just think it gets... I think it gets sensationalized because, I mean, it all involves technology, social media, and... I think that, like, you have these 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds that, like, have access to all of this stuff.
Right, because they grew up on it.
So, right.
At this point.
Yeah, and I think that parents, like, I think it causes them to, like, want to, snap back to reality for a second and be like, oh, fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Let me, like, make sure that, let me, like, be involved and make sure that my kids aren't, like, fucking around with any of this shit, and then, you know, eventually, like, then go back to sleep.
Yeah. So in contrast to the Blue Whale Challenge, another one, what you were talking about with social media, another one that is very real and very, not to say that the Blue Whale Challenge isn't real, obviously these 16 convicted cases of suicides actually happened, and that was very real, and it is very scary.
Right.
But there's another game that's called the choking game, and that is something that's very real, very documented, very scary. It's spread through YouTube initially, and it's not necessarily a new thing. People have estimated that it's been around, some version of the game has been around since the 1930s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The 1930s?
Yeah. So, basically, oxygen deprivation to the brain can result in a euphoric high.
Yeah.
And kids will choke themselves or each other in order to feel that high and stop just short of death. At least that's the plan. Unfortunately, too often, they go too far. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, in the U.S. alone, 82 children between the ages of 6 and 19 died after playing the choking game between 1995 and 2007.
6?
And most of those casualties are boys between the ages of 11 and 16. Now, you might wonder why my statistics stopped at 2007. It's not because I'm garbage. I am garbage, but that's not why. The federal government hadn't studied the issues since then.
What the fuck?
They have actually stopped studying the choking game altogether, pretty much.
But it's still going on.
And there's no sign that the deaths have slowed. More than 1,400 children and teens died from accidental hanging and strangulation from 2000 to 2015. So, people still dying from accidental hanging and strangulation. Children. Babies. But we're just not going to look into it. It's probably fine.
What the fuck? I mean, okay, like, I think it's, like, alright, so I think you should clarify, like, there's a difference in between, like, this and some things that you get with, like, erotic asphyxiation. Like, I think that there's, like, it's similar, but, like, the one thing that I read was that it was definitely, because I'd heard a little bit about this when I was researching for, like, my stuff, because the intentions are completely different. Like, you get one person that does this for, like, sexual gratification, right? And then you get the other person, you get the other side where they're doing this stupid challenge for, like, likes or, like, social media shares.
Well, they do film it, usually. A lot of kids will film the choking and upload the videos to YouTube, which feeds the viral phenomenon. And a search on YouTube will pull up over 37 million results for how to play the pass out game.
Fuck.
Yeah. I searched it my fucking self. I didn't watch anything, but I wanted to see, because YouTube released this big statement where they were like, oh, we're hiring a bunch of people to screen stuff and we're going to try to, like, cut it out. But I searched the term myself and it was like 37 million results.
That's insane.
Yeah. It's pretty fucked.
I mean, you got people that do this, that do that. Like, I've seen people, like, set themselves on fire.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another one.
That's set my fucking self on fire challenge.
But
like,
the thing, to go back to the thing with autoerotic asphyxiation, there's layers to that we could unpack. A lot of that is just for show. I know that asphyxiation in general, as part of, like, BDSM or anything like that, is more about the act and less about, like, actually fucking choking yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so it's different.
And
like, there's a difference between, like, taking an electrical cord and fucking wrapping it around your throat and jumping off, like, a bed and then having your partner, like, choke your little bit during sex, And it's like...
And I feel like one is probably, and I'm just going to loosely say this, but probably, like, one is definitely more controlled than the other.
Yeah.
I would say, because, like, if you are into that sort of thing, I mean, you've got your safe words, you've got all of that.
Right. There's a lot that goes into that, and with this particular thing, I mean, it's terrible. Like, some of the stories that I read, it's awful. I mean, there was this one boy, he was 12 years old, and he had just returned home from a Boy Scouts weekend retreat where he had gotten an award for leadership. And he hung himself from the pull-up bar in his family's kitchen in their 2-bedroom apartment in Santa Monica, and he died. And it's like,
And was this from, like, how do they document that? Like, is that from, like, was he doing the challenge?
Yeah.
Like, was he filming himself?
Yeah, I think later investigation, I don't know that he specifically was filming himself, but later investigation revealed that it was part of that. That it wasn't like a suicide out of suicide, which is also bad and terrible, and don't do that. That it was actually related to this game. And his mother, I believe, has become, a lot of the mothers of these children become advocates for, you know, getting the word out about this game and, like, educating kids so that they don't, because it's so hard with that age group, because the line between, and a lot of studies have been done on brains of kids that age, like from 11 to 16, your brain doesn't conceive of reality and fantasy in the same way, like, or as two separate things. The line between those things is kind of really blurred. And so to an adult, you know, we would never think, oh, well, I mean, there was one story about a kid who, he put, I think it was like a belt or a rope or something, and he thought that the way he jumped off of like a chair or something, and he thought that he would fall, and so it wouldn't choke him to death, that he would fall right and then be fine. And it's like, an adult would never, a sane adult would never be like, oh, well, I'll just jump and I'll fall right and it'll be fine. Like, we would be scared out of our fucking mind, because we understand that, like, at a certain point, you're no longer in control once you lose consciousness. And that you actually could fucking die.
Right.
But for somebody in that age group where the brain hasn't developed to the point where it's just really hard to kind of explain consequences, because it's not, it's like less of a thing.
Right.
At that age. You know, you think you're invincible.
Yeah.
Because you are, of course. You're a kid. And so it plays into that. It plays into that, like you said, the need to belong to something that's bigger than yourself, and social media, and getting gratification and validation from your peers.
And I'm sure there's some relation as well between, like, you know, depression and anxiety that some of these kids might be feeling, and them
trying to
like
escape
trying,
it.
you know what I mean, like using it as like a reason, or like not a reason, but you know what I'm trying to say, like using it as like, okay, I'm just doing this challenge, but like for fun and you know, likes and shares, but like what's really going on?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
A lot of them too will say that it's a relatively easy way to get high without drugs, and that they think that it won't cause lasting damage, but that's so not true. Brain cells start dying within minutes of blood and oxygen deprivation.
Oh yeah.
And there was this doctor, Dr. Catherine Thomas, and she was talking about how if the carotid artery in the neck of a person, which is the artery that runs right along below your jawline to your collarbone.
We know what that one is.
The fucking big ass fucking important one that you don't want shit to happen to.
Which is so conveniently placed
exactly right what would get fucking cut off if you put some shit around your neck. If that artery is compressed by a rope or a belt, it can lead to irreversible brain damage after 5 minutes. But since, like I was talking about, since children's brains are still developing, they're uniquely susceptible to this game. They can't, their brains are literally physiologically not capable of anticipating and thinking about future consequences and acting and acting with an understanding of that. That develops gradually over time past the age of 16.
It's just so weird because, like, when I was that age, like, the only game that I was playing was Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! You know what I mean? Like, we weren't out here playing these choking games and Tide Pod challenges and, like...
I don't think it was to the scale that it is at this point. But experts say that the choking game has been around since the 1930s, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
Although it was known by a couple different names. The Pass Out Challenge was one. Flatliner was another one, which I think I heard about Flatliner. And then Space Monkey was another one. I think I maybe heard about Space Monkey, too.
Space Monkey?
Yeah. I think that one... Space Monkey might have been the one that was around when we were that age.
I mean... maybe, but, like, listen, I was too introverted to give a fuck about joining into major groups and being liked, like...
we didn't have the internet as much.
Yeah, well,
so you couldn't,
did,
like, film it.
But...
Yeah, you ain't filming that shit on a Motorola Razor, dude.
No, you're not.
This shit is not happening on that old-ass, like, first version of the BlackBerry.
But, I mean, even then, I was content to
play...
play...
take a picture of nothing.
I was trying to... I had people that were like, hey, you want to come to this, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament and Pokemon tournament? I'm like, no. I'm good over here playing on my picnic table in the backyard by my damn self. Dueling my damn self.
Well,
and winning every time.
Jesus. But also losing every time. And that is a metaphor.
And that's what fucked me up.
That's a metaphor for life right there. You win it, you lose every time. No, but, so one of the really frustrating things about the choking game in particular is that how I told you that the federal government is basically just, like, dipping the fuck out. But there has been, progress towards educating people about the game and trying to get this thing under control. 5 states have added questions about the choking game to their risk assessments between 2008 and 2017. I mean, it's a silver lining, but it's a little one because that's 5 states and we got fucking 50. So if we could just get that number up a little bit, that would be great.
Right.
But in the 5 states that have added these questions, the results showed that many middle school students were familiar with the game. In Oregon in 2008, about 36% of 8th graders said they were aware of the game.
Shit.
And how old are you in 8th grade? You're like 14, 13, 14?
Something like that.
6% said that they had played it. In Kentucky, Montana, Florida, and Utah, about 7 to 10% of students said that they had either been choked by somebody else on purpose or had tried to choke themselves for the feeling or the experience that it caused.
Well, you have to be careful with that shit because you can be, like, if you assisted in that and something happens to your friend...
You could be liable. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bitch, you can be charged.
Yeah. And there are some really inspiring parents. I mean, there's so many really, really sad stories of kids who were trying to do this dumb game and just didn't think about the consequences and were filming themselves and trying to put it on YouTube. And then something ends up going terribly wrong. They end up dying. Their parents end up finding them. It was like I hate to say that it's like a broken record because each of them were individuals and, they had their own situation, their own family. But, like, there's such a pattern. Mm-hmm. And it's just so awful to imagine. And Sharon Grant, who founded the nonprofit Games Adolescents Shouldn't Play, which the acronym is GASP, her son was one of them, and he died at age, her son Carson, he was 14, and he passed away just like that because of this game. And so she founded this nonprofit, Sharon Grant founded this nonprofit to spread the word. Or, I'm sorry, Sharon Grant's son's name was Jesse. Carson was another child. There's just... this was something that was really hard to research because it was just so many fucking awful stories. And they all had that same pattern. But basically, in December of 2017, under pressure from gas and several other state agencies that are kind of stepping up, YouTube announced that it was going to amp up its efforts to stop the spread of the videos by hiring more people to try to remove the videos. And YouTube officially claimed that its guidelines prohibit content that's intended to encourage dangerous activities that have an inherent risk of physical harm. So that was December of last year. Hopefully it's getting more attention and progress will be made. And the fucking federal government will give a shit.
For real.
It's just really...
Well, they always do that shit because it's like, even because when I was listening to our Pod Besties APC, their last episode, they mentioned the same thing because they were like, their topic that they were discussing was a man who was killing like gay men.
Yeah.
And like, so they had all of these bodies of these gay men that were just like nobody gave a shit about.
Yeah.
And it's like, hello? Mm-hmm. It's absolutely ridiculous. But
yeah, they call that particular thing, they call it the less dead. And I mean, you would usually, children are excluded from that because people get upset, but it's like, if it's a situation where I just feel like it's so easy for people to be like, oh well, it's just a suicide. Right. Which is a fucking ridiculous statement anyway, that it's just a suicide. Like, what? Number one, what? Number two, it's an epidemic.
And especially if there's patterns and trends. So
right.
Like we need to do something about this.
Right. Exactly.
So but no, just going back to like the friends and stuff who like assist their people, like who assist their quote unquote friends, because I'm gonna tell you what, if you came to me talking about some like choke me bullshit, sorry.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I mean, because they can get in fucking trouble, and like one of the big cases that sort of set the standard for that sort of relates to my topic, because when we were talking about like suicide games and stuff like that, the one thing that like immediately clicked with me was Russian Roulette. It's probably the most well-known.
Yeah.
And I guess you would say like sensationalized or like, I don't know, that stuck out to me. And I'm like, who the fuck would ever play this in real life?
Yeah. I mean, that one's almost like we've talked so much about social media and how social media feeds that's almost like a social media type thing.
And so the case was the Commonwealth versus Malone. So what happened is that the defendant, last name Malone, was convicted of murder for killing his friend while playing Russian roulette. And the defendant's argument was that he did not intend to harm the victim, and therefore the facts do not justify a conviction of murder. Okay.
So was this a game of Russian roulette where you shoot the other person instead of yourself? Because I thought Russian roulette was you pass the weapon around and you go to shoot yourself, but maybe it was a different type of thing.
No, so the defendant, he was convicted of second degree murder for killing his friend because the defendant had testified that he had loaded the gun chamber directly to the right of the firing chamber, and that when he pulled the trigger, he did shoot his friend.
Yeah,
he did
so
not
they were shooting at each other.
Yeah. He did not expect the gun to go off, and he claimed that he did not intend to harm the victim. And again, going back to the justification of murder, so essentially the issue is, can recklessness satisfy the state of mind required to uphold a conviction of manslaughter? Which the answer is...
I mean, fuck yeah.
Yes.
a resounding motherfucking yes. Absolutely. Like...
Well, The rule of all law is that malice, which is the state of mind required for murder, is evidenced where an individual performs an uncalled for act in complete disregard of its likely harmful effects on another, even where the harmful result is not intended. So, but this came, I'm kind of working backwards here. There was actually a film. It's called The Deer Hunter.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Does it have Meryl in it?
I'm not 100%. It's got Robert De Niro in it.
I feel like that has Meryl Streep in it.
It might.
Somewhere, Alex Heisman is bleeding from his eyes.
It was in 1978. It had...
I'm pretty sure Meryl is in Deer Hunter.
Robert De Niro and Christopher Walken.
Oh, Jesus.
So the characters are in Vietnam, and they ended up, getting captured as part of their torture, are forced to play the deadly game until one is standing, and then, in one particularly gruesome scene, one of the players points the gun. So I think it was Christopher Walken. He pointed the gun just above his head and shot it, and it fired. No, it wasn't. That wasn't Christopher Walken. Sorry, it was another guy. He pointed it because he was too afraid to actually do it. So he pointed it just above his head and shot, and he wound up getting thrown in an underwater cage with rats and dead bodies in the movie. So
what the fuck is this movie?
Yeah,
I feel like maybe Meryl wasn't in it now. It doesn't seem like her.
I was gonna say,
speed.
I was
I don't know. It doesn't seem like it was her speed.
I didn't see Meryl
It sounds
Streep
pretty
in
fucked up.
it.
Did you watch it?
No, I watched the scene, actually. I did watch the scene, because that one's it's a famous scene, so I was like, let me watch this, and I was like, fuck.
So do you think that scene in the movie caused a obviously I don't think that's where Russian Roulette's from, but did it cause a renaissance?
Yeah, so
I don't know why I'm having a fucking stroke right now.
Oh,
you know, I just love the art. It's the best.
It was, I think it was a part of it. It made it more well known. It definitely amplified it a lot, and I think due to that movie that these kids from the Commonwealth versus Malone case that attempted to try it. So, yeah. But we've all heard about Russian Roulette.
Yeah.
I mean, Rihanna has that fucking amazing song that I love.
True. Wasn't there a movie? Oh, shit. I wish I remembered the name of it. There was a movie that, the whole premise of the movie was a bunch of strangers in a room, and they were having to play Russian roulette.
I'm sure it's there.
Until all of them died, but one. It was some edgy independent horror film. We'll have to find the name of it and post it, but it was terrifying.
Yeah. So we all know that it's a deadly game of chance. You put one bullet in the chamber, spin it, and then proceed to place the gun to your head and pull the trigger. And like I said, we've seen this in entertainment for a while now, but what I was really curious about is to where did this fucking ridiculous ass game come from?
Yeah.
And why the fuck would anyone do it?
It's terrible.
No. But the very first mention of Russian roulette, at least in America, can be found in a short story written in 1937 by author George Surdez. And I actually have an excerpt that I'm going to read from it. And this was the very first time that it was, ever mentioned in America.
Interesting. I would have thought it would have been older than that.
I thought so. I would have thought so, too.
Yeah, that's
But
weird.
I think it comes from the story.
Yeah.
So I think if I'm not mistaken, he was inspired by tales and stuff that he had heard and wrote it in wrote this tale in historical fiction form. But the excerpt from the story.
Story time.
It is story time.
I want you to read the whole thing in that accent.
Do you want me to try?
I do.
Okay.
I'm afraid.
God, I am too. But hey, we're taking chances. Oh God, that's a fucking Celine Dion song.
Oh my God.
Fucking Celine Dion.
Cue it.
Should I put... I wonder if... No, I can't.
She's going to fucking sue the shit out of us. You cannot fucking cue it. Everybody just think really hard about Celine Dion.
I don't even remember how I was supposed to talk now. Feldheim, he says. Did you ever hear of Russian roulette? When I said I had not, he told me all about it. When he was with the Russian army in Romania around 1917, and things were cracking up so that their officers felt that they were not only losing prestige, money, family, and country, but were being also dishonored before their colleagues of the Allied armies. Some officer would suddenly pull out his revolver, anywhere, at the table, in a cafe, at a gathering of friends, remove a cartridge from the cylinder, spin the cylinder, snap it back into place, put it to his head, and pull the trigger. There were 5 chances to 1 that the hammer would set off a live cartridge and blow his brains all over the place. Sometimes it happened, sometimes not. When it did, there was nothing more to be said or done. When it didn't, the fellow waited another day. And as he explained, Burkowski removed a cartridge from the gun, spun the cylinder with his thumb, snapped it shut without looking at it. He said something about me never understanding the thrill of it, put the muzzle against his temple and pressed the trigger. There was a click. So
Here's
that's
the
a
thing.
little expert.
Here's the thing.
Excerpt.
People fetishize that shit and make it like look like you're a badass, but if somebody literally did that in front of me in a bar, I would be like, you're a fucking idiot, is the thing. Please go seek a medical attention is what I should say. But I just get really angry. And
You
stuff
just
like
get
that.
aggressively angry.
Because that makes it sound so cool. Like, that makes it sound so cool and sexy and like, oh, I don't care if I live or die. But like, in all actuality, like, when you really get down to brass tacks, living and dying is kind of like all we fucking have.
Right.
So, it's not really sexy.
I think it's definitely about some bullshit toxic masculinity.
Yes.
Like, that so toxic.
Right. Like,
I've got the balls to put this gun to my head.
Here's the thing. If you, and we're not going to get into the gun debate because that's just a thing. We're just not even going to get into it.
This is not a politics podcast.
Right,
we are many podcasts.
Right.
But that is not one of them.
Nobody needs a fucking assault rifle. Anyway, moving on. If you have a gun, then I expect you to be responsible as fuck. I expect you to take care of your shit, understand your shit, and always be responsible with your shit. And that type of stuff right there, like, that just makes me so irritated because, like, nobody, like, if that is what you do, like, you shouldn't be anywhere near guns at all ever again.
Right.
Like, never.
Right. If you have, like, that much disregard for your own life, you probably don't have much regard for like,
anybody else's. Exactly.
So, like, if I ever see someone and they're trying to, like, play that, I'm like,
You know what I'm going to be doing? Doing what I'm going to be calling the non-emergency number. That's what I'm going to be doing to the police.
Mm-hmm.
To be like, bitch.
And so you see how it sort of evolves. So, like, you have someone who writes a story. Mm-hmm. And then
it makes it seem sexy because that excerpt is so sexy. Like, it's just so infuriating.
Right.
Like, you can tell that person wrote that to be like so like, ooh.
Right. And there was more to it as well. I think actually because I just chose a little bit of it. Mm-hmm. But I think in the end of the story because like I got to reading it, I was like, let me just keep reading it. And I think the man, like, eventually died, because, like, this character that he's talking about, like, keeps doing it, and so the character, like, eventually fucking lost his game.
And fucking fortunately, he didn't lose his game in, like, chapter 1.
Right, and so the officer that he was speaking to was then left with, like, oh, shit, so how do I explain this to, like, you know what I mean? Because, like, again, like the younger boys that happen later, like, you're responsible.
Right.
Partly. I mean, yes, you are.
Yeah.
Because you're involved in this bullshit. And you allowed this bullshit to happen.
Yeah.
And people, like, and there were several like articles mentioning like other people that have played this and like put the bullet in, like even not in typical Russian roulette form, but like there was one instance where these two young girls, and she put the bullet in the chamber and just like they were just hanging out in a room and like spun the thing and then just put it to her fucking head and blew her brains out right there.
Do you know what age?
They were young. Yeah. They were young. It wasn't in the States. I remember that much. But they were like younger, like teens.
It all comes back to the consequence
teens.
thing. It all goes back to the consequence thing. So, I mean, talk to your fucking children, people.
Yes.
Like, just for the love of God, talk to your children.
And that's why, like, it's really important, because, like, we have younger siblings. Mm-hmm. And I always feel, and I've always been, I feel like, super protective over any, like, bullshit that might be sent their way.
Yeah.
Because I don't, like, for me, I would have to, like, I would feel responsible if something was to ever happen. So, like, if somebody was, like, being bullied and, like, I never said anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just get real, like, Papa Bear protective when it comes to, with family and, you know, like, really close friends in general.
Yeah.
But specifically with having younger siblings that were growing up and, you know, we're teens and will be teens in this day and age.
I mean, I have a brother who's significantly younger than me, and he's right in that age bracket of the 11 to 16. Like, so, and I think that's why doing this research this week was particularly difficult, because it's kids of that age.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it's just very difficult to read so many cases of, you know, this stuff happening, and it seems so senseless. But there was a really good, the doctor that I quoted earlier, who was talking about the development of children's brains. Fuck was her name? Dr. Catherine Thomas. This woman, very accomplished. She chairs the Department of Neurology at the Intermountain Medical Center in Salt Lake City. But she had a really great quote about talking to your children. She said, "Children can find it difficult to stand up to peer pressure, but they must know that it's perfectly okay to refuse to take part in crazes that make them feel unsafe or scared. Parents should talk with their children and emphasize that they can make their own choices and discuss ways of how to say no." Mm-hmm. Reassuring a child that they can still be accepted even if they don't go along with the crowd will help them stop doing something that could hurt them or make them uncomfortable. And I just thought that was really important to share.
Oh, yeah, you know? Totally.
So talk to your goddamn children, people.
Please.
Like, I mean,
I don't even like kids all that much. And even I
struggled.
Like, yeah, I mean, like, I'm just talk to your fucking kids. Stop being, like, throwing, you know, a tablet in their face.
And
like,
also, kids, don't fucking listen to this podcast. You better not. I mean, we love you, baby. We'll see you in 5-10 years.
We most definitely will.
You just swing on back around. We'll be here for you. We'll tell you all the terrible stuff, but not now.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's no need to feel like, I mean, that's kind of what we're all about. We always have always been all about being whatever we are, which is weird.
Whatever we are.
Yeah. I mean, obviously everybody feels pressured in high school and everybody like wants to fit in, whatever. But like, I think you and I had a gift that very early in life we came to the conclusion that we just didn't give a fuck about fitting in anymore at all.
No.
And it was like, whatever. Like,
you reached that probably a little earlier than I did.
I fucking think I was born that way. Like, I genuinely,
You came
I
out the
literally
womb.
don't think I ever, at any point, I mean, obviously there's stuff that, like, everybody goes through the same high school bullshit to varying degrees.
Right.
But there was never a point for me, and that's a gift. There was never a point for me that I was willing to sacrifice who I was as a person or am as a person to fit in with any kind of group. Because I'm just fucking weird. And like that's what I have, and if I don't have that, then I don't have anything. And like I'd rather be authentically me than be a fucking shell
Right.
that fits in with all these other people who are pretending to be shells.
Right.
Who also are amazing, fabulous, wonderful, weird, wacky people, but are just not able to get past their need to fit in.
Yeah, I never fit in anywhere because it's like, and even still to this day, I don't feel like I fit into any one particular box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yes, I love my, like, I'm totally, like, my heart is as creepy as the next. You know what I mean? But if you were to look at me, you wouldn't say, oh, goth kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't like to subscribe to one particular box. I
can't fucking do makeup good enough to be goth. That's the honest truth.
For real.
I fucking can't. Man, I lack the ability.
So what was I doing in high school? I was chilling out in the art room.
Yeah.
Hanging out in the hallway with, a couple of friends.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
I think you did. I think you undercut yourself. I think you did your own thing, but you did it in a quiet way. I don't do anything in a quiet way.
No, you don't.
Never.
You really don't.
So I was like, I'm fucking weird, man. And I'm in your face.
I had the little, like, stupid t-shirt sayings, and, like, that's how I would express myself.
Through graphic tees.
Yeah, through graphic tees that said, one of my favorites was, like, I see dumb people.
I remember that. I remember you wearing that shit. Do you remember?
All
I had that shirt that said Goobers. Do you remember that shirt?
Goobers.
Do you remember my red Orange County Choppers shirt?
Yes! I think everybody in our school had an Orange County Choppers t-shirt
God
at one
damn
point.
it. And Dixie Outfitters. I didn't have any of that. But
No, I didn't either. I just had graphic tees, and then that was it. And a shaved head.
Anyway, in true Haunted Heart fashion, we have ventured far afield.
Well, no, I just didn't want to end on, like, a really, like, low note.
I know.
Like, I just wanted to bring out
I feel like
some
this
of our...
episode was kind of a downer.
I just wanted to bring out some of our, like, weirdness as a comedy point because, like, I just didn't want to end on, like, a
Because
really
it's
super
okay. But also because it's okay.
Right.
Like,
I think it relates to the episode.
Weird is what
and the
makes
fact
things
that-
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Weird is what makes stuff... Like, the fact that you are what you are is a beautiful thing. It's an authentic thing. As you get older, you will settle into that and become comfortable with that. If you're not already comfortable with that, and there's no reason for you to allow any other human being to make you feel uncomfortable because of who you are.
Right.
Unless you are hurting someone else. In
Right.
which case, stop. Because that's not good.
No. Yeah. No, don't hurt people. But your weirdness is your power.
Absolutely.
And wield it.
Absolutely.
Some wielded it quicker than others, aka Katie. I got mine a little bit later. She came out with that fucking sword. Anyway, that's our episode for tonight, and I really wanted to thank everybody for listening again. Thank you for tuning in, listening to this absolute bullshit.
Yes, and if you want to hang out with us, we got our Facebook group up and running. Finally, Kenny forced me back onto Facebook violently.
I did.
So that is up and running. If you search the Haunted Heart podcast, you can request to join. We will approve you unless you are a mass murderer, in which case we do not want you in our club. But if you just are interested in mass murders, then that's fine. We're on Instagram at the Haunted Heart. Mm-hmm. We are on Twitter at the Haunted Heart, and we are way more active on Twitter than we have been.
Yeah.
So tweet us. I'm learning Twitter. It's very exciting. I keep responding to our own shit. And it's really embarrassing.
And liking our own shit on Instagram.
I'll
be scrolling
That's
through
on purpose, though.
I'll be on the page, like, I'll be active on the page, and then, like, I'll see the little heart notification come up, and it's like, Kitchen Witch Kate likes this.
I mean, I'm just saying. I do fucking like it, though. I do like it. Like, I see it in my feed, and I'm like, damn, that's cool. So, yeah, hang out with us.
Subscribe,
and if you have...
Rate, review.
Please rate and review. Please email us. We would love to hear your thoughts on whatever, on anything. It doesn't have to be something we specifically covered on the show. It can be if you want.
Yeah, totally. We're down to chat.
Yeah.
Slide in them DMs.
You
Slide into that GM.
You love that phrase.
Gmail. Slide into the
The
GM.
GM?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it works. Jury's out.
Whatever. All right, guys. That's our episode. Again, so hope you enjoyed it. And as always,
stay spooky. Have a good week.